Good evening. I'm so happy to be here. I love this conference. And thank you to everyone. Thank you, Brian. Where'd you go? There you are. Great reading. Thank you so much. And thanks to everyone for being here and everyone who puts this conference together. A lot of work goes into this behind the scenes. And the interns are working hard. Everybody is doing so much to make this seamless for us. And it's a delight every year. So I'm thrilled to be here. I'm also happy to be reading from the galley of my book. It's coming out. They just sent it up to me yesterday. So they said, "What kind of cover do you want?" I said, "Give me something red." We got it. So we're in good shape. All right, so I'm going to read a very short story first, and then for some reason, even though I have 20 perfectly fine short stories that have been edited and vetted by literary journals, I'm going to read this crazy thing that popped out of me. All right, anyway, this first piece is called A Love Letter. Here's what I know. Life is short and life is long. Allow me to explain. In the sense that life is short, I should tell you right now, before it's too late, I love you. Crazy because in many ways you're not my ideal, not even close. And I couldn't care less. What you have is much greater than my mind could ever conceive. You've got what my grandma calls pizzazz. But life is long too, and no sudden changes need to be made yet. We must remain strong, Angel. This might seem shocking coming from a 13-year-old, but I assure you I have given this ample thought. I understand all the obstacles. You're married, for one thing. And if I remember correctly, you have 2 daughters, Kelly and Kim, and a son named Jake in the military. And I have not yet embarked on my high school career. In the coming 4 years, I will have quite a bit of homework to do, not to mention chores. And my mother has imposed upon me a strict 10 o'clock curfew. Believe me, I have tried to sway her with all my considerable powers of charm and rhetoric. She is a rock, unmovable. Give it a rest, Buster, she says. You better be in by 10 or no TV. It is an effective hardline position. The good news is you work afternoons, a choice 2 to 5 shift. And have I failed to mention how fetching you look in that reflective vest? I rarely, if ever, think of you as a crossing guard. You move like a dancer. You blow your whistle like one of the jazz greats we listened to and appreciated in music appreciation class. True, I am impulsive, and some say it is this quality that makes me charming, but I am also patient and caring. I need you to know that I care about you. Your husband is an aloof man with a tragic sense of fashion and a hurried air, but in him I recognize a worthy foe. He will not let you go without a struggle. He climbs in and out of his minivan with the nimble prowess of a linebacker, one who can both rush the passer and cover a halfback in the flat. And yet, I cannot arrest my true feelings, lock them up in that dank prison called repression, and dump them overboard while nobody's looking on the Staten Island ferry like so much illegal medical waste. Maybe I'm not being clear. Lover, I understand the logistics of compromise. If for now we must share only 11 seconds together each day as you shepherd me across the street, then so be it. We have had that time, and for that I should be grateful. If I were never to see you again, I would cherish the memory of our encounter yesterday. The way you spread your arms protectively, shielding me from oncoming traffic as I bent once again over my untied lace. I have a confession. I loosened my laces beforehand on Carroll Street to have a few more seconds. Yesterday, when I looked up at you, the sun hovered over your shoulder, illuminating your dark hair, and exposed the silhouette of your neck. I fumbled with my shoelace. At that moment, my hands were like lobster claws. Not in shape, of course, or even color, for that matter, but in their usefulness. They were useless. And when you said, "Hurry up, for Christ's sake, what's your problem?" I nearly wept with joy. I knew then and forevermore that I adored you. Ever heard of Velcro? You said, with a laugh. And to me it was a line of poetry more arresting than anything we read this term in pre-AP English. Ever heard of Velcro? Ever heard of Velcro? At night, alone in my bed, I wonder, are you chaperoning me across the street, or am I taking you to the other side? I don't want to say that it would be, what would your life be like without me? I don't want to say that it would be empty and meaningless and full of drudgery, because I know that you are bright and energetic. You probably have no shortage of interests. Maybe you're a talented street photographer who exhibits her work under a pseudonym to protect impressionable loved ones from controversy. Maybe you are an activist who stands outside City Hall on Saturday afternoons with your comrades, shouting about vivisection and waving through some placards. Maybe you're an idler, a civilized loafer, a connoisseur of repose, sprawled on the sofa in your sweats. It's even possible that you like to smoke a little hashish. Am I getting warmer? And after a hot bubble bath, you walk around the house burning things, sage, incense, and various aromatic candles. Your personal life, I admit, is none of my business. But remember these words. I am here now, and I can only cross the street with you so many times. One day I will have to keep walking and won't see you again. But when that time comes, I promise to stop at the next corner. I will turn and wave. Thank you, I will say. I am safe. Are you? You will not hear me say these words, of course, because I'll be like 300 feet away, at least. And I'll probably only mouth the words anyway, because it would be lame to say them aloud, and my cool high school friends would totally mock me. But know that I have said and meant them. Remember me, angel. To you, I was probably one of hundreds, maybe thousands, just another face passing by your corner. But you are my only one. And there are other stories in this question that I've thought about a great deal, and then I'm going to read this, which is, I'll just read it, and we'll see what happens. This is called Angels from the Realms of Glory. On Halloween night, I jog around my neighborhood with a pillowcase full of candy. I go door to door. Some folks seem surprised to find a solitary 46-year-old man on their doorstep holding a pillowcase. It's a liminal age that seems to require a child in tow, or at least a dog. At least a dog. They usually glance behind me as if to indicate they will rule out murderer or sex pervert only when they spot my spouse or child or pet, but not until then. I'm trying to change the public perception of men like me. The neighborly heterosexual fellow with an athletic build living all alone just down the street. Not a young man in the grand scheme of things, but not yet old. Hi, I'm Dave Masters, and I've taken it upon myself to spread the news about being single and middle-aged. Over at the strip mall, I catch wind of a good deal of slander and speculation about men and women in my position, so I thought I'd just go ahead and set the record straight, one house at a time. I choose holidays that are traditionally designed for the family, and I turn the table, so to speak. On Halloween, for instance, I deliver candy to all the people who stay home within earshot of their door with their big round bowl of succulent candy near the front door. I need them to know that I'm perfectly normal. In fact, I'm beyond normal. I am altruistic, hence the bulging pillowcase of sweets in my gloved fist. I'll admit that at one time I rented a dog for these outings, but I found that the dogs didn't respond in an appropriate manner to Bowser or Snowball or Little Dave Masters, whatever name I'd given them 8 minutes earlier. And animal shelter employees can get pretty uppity about returns. I thought everywhere the 30-day satisfaction guarantee. I would try to bring my rented dog back the next day, November 1st, and I'd get into quite a spirited chat with an assistant manager type, you know what I mean. And I'd say, this is a miracle, last I checked, Hoss. When I threatened to use what I call the nuclear option, that is tying the rented dog to a no parking street sign out front of the shelter, they advised me to leave it behind and never come back. On account of the shabby treatment, I had to travel every October to neighboring towns in my minivan to scout out new shelters, places where I felt they might be more amenable to my philanthropic efforts. I found that full transparency was the best policy. I'd burst through the front door smiling in a non-aggressive way and boom out, "Hello, I'm Dave Masters. How do I say this delicately? Do you have any dogs that are scheduled to go into the needle tonight? If so, I'm here to take him out." The response, though often preceded by a moment of silent confusion, was invariably warm. They bring me to a cage where I'd see him, my new sidekick, not a mopey animal as you'd expect, but a full-size dog with a pet, still in the prime of his life, not young, but certainly not yet old. Friendly, athletic build, a handsome dog, still capable of sexual congress, I'm quite sure, if you only had the opportunity. A rare but delectable possibility that probably consumed many of his solitary hours in that lonely cage, while employees chatted around him, listening to maddening country music on their staticky radios, and he'd probably take a broomstick handle to the ceiling and roar at those fuckers upstairs if he could, but he just sat there, took it, and waited for his moment. So I would see him and he would see me, and that tail of his would start wagging like a coked up conductor's baton during the final movement of Bolero. You know what I'm talking about. And I'd say in my rich baritone, "Release the prisoner." The joy on the employee's face was matched only by little Dave's or snowballs as he barreled into my shins. Were these Halloween night excursions an unmitigated success? On the whole, I would say they were not. Without fail, I noted a bit of consternation on an employee's face when in parting I'd say, "Thanks, I'll have him back first thing tomorrow. What time do you open it for?" For people who are planning to euthanize a dog in 3 hours, they put on quite a performance of moral outrage. Who's to say that giving little Dave one last romp through the night air wasn't a benevolent Christ-like gesture? I fed him a damn bacon cheeseburger. You've never seen a happier dog. I let him chase a squirrel and bark at the shadows the leaves and branches were making on the pavement due to the lamplight shining through them. Some of the neighborhood folks really liked seeing me and little Dave on their stoops. They liked that my doggie and I had brought them candy. It was different, fresh. They peered uncertainly into the pillowcase I held and reached in and picked out a Smartie or two, maybe scored one of the cherry lifesavers. "Ha ha, okay, well thanks." Others were decidedly less generous. "I don't want your damn candy, get out of here. What's this all about anyway? Get that dog out of my hydrangeas." After every holiday, I went back to HQ. My apartment above the vape shop is what I call HQ. And thought about ways to improve my system of making people feel comfortable with me. I determined that having a dog that wouldn't respond to his own name and shat willy-nilly on people's driveways was hurting more than helping my cause. So I had to move on from that feature of my goodwill mission. Ultimately, I decided it was better to head out on Halloween night solo, wearing my mask and gloves, and carrying my bag. Oh, have I mentioned my mask yet? It's the spitting image of Minnie Pearl, beloved American comedienne who appeared on Grand Ole Opry and Hee Haw for over 50 years. How did I choose her? When you don't have children or pets, you have the freedom to spend several hours a day on the internet. That luscious free time can take you down some less traveled roads off the main thoroughfare of the cyber highway. That's where I found most of my costumes. My latex Minnie Pearl mask is so naturalistic because the seller claimed it was fashioned from Miss Pearl's actual death mask, which was meant. Which was made shortly after she passed away from multiple strokes at the grand old age of 83. However, even though this thing is lifelike as hell, many strangers seem confused about who I'm honoring every Halloween. Arguably because I've not yet acquired a replica of her trademark straw hat, a broad-brimmed down-home affair garlanded with flowers, the cheapy $1.99 price tag hanging off the side. Minnie Pearl is known far and wide for her hats, and one of them can be found perfectly preserved in the National Museum of American History in Washington, D.C. I have made several pilgrimages to see it. Highly recommended, worth the trip, 4.5 stars out of Dave Masters in the guest book. Now, someone out there might argue, well, Dave, As a beer aisle man with no wife and children, ample free time, and off-the-charts creative potential that unfortunately your caregivers ignored and even mocked, couldn't you make a mini pearl type hat to go with your Halloween mask? You wouldn't be wrong to ask that, but I'd have to shut your mouth immediately with my reply. Minnie Pearl was more than a damn hat, I tell you. She was a legend, brilliant satirist, and should be known for more than her hats and her catchphrase, howdy. Cure for depression. It's 2:30 Minnie Pearl howdies. My father loved Minnie Pearl, and therefore so do I. Hee Haw was the one show we always watched together back when I was 5 or maybe 6 years old, before he met a flight attendant in bed and disappeared from our lives. So every Halloween I don my Minnie Pearl death mask, fill my pillowcase full of unwrapped Zagnuts and loose Smarties and Lifesavers, and head out into the gloaming, the dusk purple as a bruise. I stand on front porches and hold out my pillowcase, giving candy away and spreading the word about the joys of being childless in middle age. We are a silent minority. In my opinion, there aren't enough middle-aged men out there driving around in their dented minivans, letting the community know that we love children as much as they do. Perhaps we love them even more when we think about it long enough. We don't have to endure the tantrums, the upraised voices, the slammed doors, and petty fights over who received the better gift, not to mention the taxing financial expense of it all. We only see children at play, local soccer games, and on playgrounds at recess, and late at night on basketball courts, boys doing solitary layups, and often agreeable to a pickup game of 2-on-2, kids versus skims. Halloween is really just a tune-up for the big three: Thanksgiving, Christmas morning, and New Year's Eve. 2 of these, however, are not worth mentioning. On Thanksgiving morning, I start drinking beer as soon as I wake up, and usually pass out during the second football game, right around 3:30 in the afternoon. You think I'm going to celebrate the genocide of the American Indian? So you don't know the first thing about Dave Masters. And New Year's Eve is amateur hour, time for a bunch of damn posers to go out and barf in the street and slobber all over each other. I sit tight in my living room back at HQ, sipping on vodka and grapefruit and laughing to myself about all the damn foolishness in the world. They want to crank their country music in the apartment above mine, so be it. You won't see me reaching for the broomstick on New Year's Eve. It pays to have some dignity. Have I mentioned the importance of dignity yet? It's a form of self-respect or seriousness of manner, appearance, or language, according to Merriam-Webster. Look into it. Let me explain the meaning of life to you. A couple of humans deem themselves grown up enough to start a family. Baby appears. They start telling anybody who'll listen that they're willing to give up everything, time, money, everything for baby. They fall on their swords and die for baby. They become addicted to baby. Billions of people, hundreds of generations of men and women have said and thought this: baby will have what I never had, even if it means that I sacrifice my own dreams. Great idea. Noble, right? They mean it too. They don't recognize that it's a cop-out and a lie. Most of them are only grown up in a chronological sense, not emotionally, and never had any real dreams to sacrifice in the first place. They had no great talents, no world-changing ambitions, so they got nervous and made baby instead and blamed it all on him. He was just a little kid in his Oshkosh Bagosh overalls, standing in the dirt with a fire truck in his hand, while they shouted curses at each other in the kitchen, the window over the sink wide open, their voices carrying over the gravel driveway. They called each other the worst names imaginable, his voice always a bit louder than hers, cursing her and wishing she were dead, and the child along with her. Baby didn't solve it. Baby made it worse. Yet they do it 1 billion times over. How many will be enough to destroy the planet? 10 billion resource-draining do-nothings with multiple chemical dependencies, night terrors, and breathtaking lapses of civility in the strip mall? Will that do it? Having a child is a simple affair. Let me be clear. Raising a child is difficult, one of the most complex and honorable endeavors undertaken by human beings, but producing one is as easy as breathing or tying shoelaces. Anyone with functional reproductive organs can manage it. It's no miracle, that's all I'm saying. Watch TV on New Year's Eve and take a look at the Times Square crowd. Each and every chucklehead produced the exact same way. There's no miracle in a dozen hip thrusts and a dribbly little splurt in the Econo Lodge. Let's play the tape to the end here. When their beloved son at the age of 18 or 26 or 34 or 58 has a child of his own, And that kid says or thinks the exact same thing his parents thought before him, i.e., I will sacrifice my present life for baby's future, etc., etc. He merely perpetuates a ruinous cycle. You see what I mean? Generations of your family have come and gone, and what have they done really beyond feuding with each other, depleting our natural resources, and taking up parking spaces? Who has benefited in the end? How many of your relatives are still washing the boss's dishes and parking the rich man's car? I have a question for everybody here. When in all this time, I'd like to know, does that one strong son or daughter step out of the crowd and say, hey, thank you, my ancestors, for your sacrifice and hard work. You've all busted your asses for like 100 generations for me to be here. Wow, that's a lot of sacrificing without much discernible return on your investment. Well, I'm going to cash in these chips at the casino cage. First off, I will not make the same mistake you all did in your 20s by heaping all of your unfulfilled dreams onto a child's tiny shoulders. Instead, I'm going to celebrate and enjoy my amazing life here in the good old US of A before it all blows up. Didn't you say you wanted me to climb above your low level of achievement? Isn't that what you've all been clamoring about in the kitchen and in the bedroom? Isn't that why so many of our ancestors died in ocean voyages to get here? Isn't that why so many bodies were broken over the wheel of capital? So why, goddammit, should I turn my life over to baby? No, I refuse. It's time for me, Dave Masters, to live. My time is now. I usually say something like that to my big screen TV on New Year's Eve. And right before I hit the hay, before that inane, glittering ball plummets to the earth, I wonder if there's anything nobler on this planet than the man who chooses to get a vasectomy. Not even drink on that one. I lie in bed and think about my family, all the sadness and mediocrity, the punched clocks, the sore feet, the counted nickels and pennies. They did all of that for me, they claim. How sweet, how quaint of them, but that's unfair to baby. You make some kind of cosmetic sacrifice to hide your own lack of ambition, your lack of talent, your refusal to take a chance on a pursuit that might lead to failure, and you want me to be grateful for what you claim to have given up? You gave up nothing. You ran out the door with the first hairdo that came along because you couldn't face your responsibilities. I say it's criminal to lay all of that failure on the head of baby. They dumped all their hopes on me. Every generation that came before dumped it down like a toxic mudslide because they were incapable of growth themselves, and they called it a sacrifice. That's monstrous. If you're a good person, you will not do the same to the innocent children who never asked to be born. This cycle will be broken, and it will be broken by Dave Masters. I say into my pillow before I drift off into a sound alcoholic slumber. So that's why I'm telling you that Thanksgiving and New Year's aren't worth thinking about if you're on a goodwill mission in your neighborhood. There's only one day of the year that matters to me. On Christmas mornings, the best day of the year by far. I have learned through trial and error that if I want my solitary caroling to have its full effect, I have to ring doorbells quite early to get ahead of the children stampeding downstairs toward the tree. 9 a.m. is way too late. Nothing is uglier than a sleepy-eyed adult in a bathrobe, the first cup of coffee still in his hand, peering angrily through the frosted glass of his storm door, while his children aim toy guns and knives at each other behind him. No, I can get there at 6:30 sharp to say, Merry Christmas, I'm Dave Masters, and I would like to sing you and your family a medley of Christmas carols. Give the kids, they'll love this. I do all the classics. Joy to the World, Holly Jolly Christmas, Do You Hear What I Hear? But my closer, the big finale, is Angels from the Realms of Glory, a gorgeous carol, written by the undervalued Scottish poet James Montgomery in 1816. Shepherds in the fields abiding, watching o'er your flocks by night, God with man is now residing, yonder shines the infant light. In this perfect carol, we are reminded of the beauty of life, every life, and encouraged to be tolerant and loving to those who are different than us. God is in each of us, I believe. The light of God shines through our smiles and laughter. Mercy calls you, break your chains, James Montgomery wrote when he was 46 years old, a little more than halfway through his life. A kind man, deeply concerned with humanitarian causes such as the abolition of slavery and the exploitation of child chimney sweets. If we're ever going to know God, I believe it will come through other people and their influence on us. James Montgomery died in 1854 at the age of 82, an unmarried man and beloved by the world for his poetry, patriotism, and philanthropy. It's a 5-star carol. I can't get tears from welling in my eyes when I sing Angels from the Realms of Glory. I warn my listeners of this inevitability when I introduce myself on the doorstep. I'm Dave Masters, I tell them, and I would like to sing you and your family a medley of Christmas carols. And I may cry while doing so. Don't be alarmed. Don't be alarmed, there will be tears of joy at the wonder of being alive. I want children to hear me sing. I remember being a little kid and wishing my guardians let tones of peace and joy enter their voices. When I was their age, Mr. Diop, the music teacher, said I had a gorgeous baritone. Then he moved to Boston. Allow me to bestow this medley upon you, I tell my listeners, before I visit my mother later this morning in Buddy Groves. Have I mentioned the nursing home yet? It's in the strip mall, right behind the Goodyear tire shop. My mother sits dazed in her wheelchair, swaddled in a soft blanket I ordered online for her before last Christmas. She loves it, I think. It's a reversible fleece from Nordstrom. Buddy Groves is all right. Staff know me by name. Their holiday buffets are always succulent in the fellowship room. And they let me play chopsticks on the electric organ for as long as I want at the Christmas supper. Anyhow, I can see you getting antsy here. Got your dinner on the table behind you. It looks like a good one. Is that lasagna? But I still have a few more houses to hit on my route before I drive out to the strip mall. Got my mom's new slippers on the passenger seat of my car. No point in wrapping gifts anymore. I'll just put them right on her feet. If I get a smile out of the deal, we'll call it a holiday bonus. Have a good night.